I'm so tired of people just taking the word of random people online who do not do their own research. It's frustrating because right now I hear people saying that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is being the new Lion King movie, but the data doesn't show that. And people like say, well, it's not released internationally. What is this then? It's released internationally. It might not be released in as many theaters and stuff because the way they are doing, they wait a whole week before releasing it both, which is only going to shoot sign sign 3 and 4 or in both feet really. Because when you do this, it doesn't help you in the long run. It actually hurts you in the long run because people everywhere can easily just look it up online, just watch it online. So, but look, the data really don't lie. Look, nearly 200,000 versus 90. Oh, sorry, nearly 200 million versus 90 million. Again, it's the data. You can't say that Mufasa is losing. Yes, you can like, oh well, look, oh, domestically, blah blah. Domestic is not the only people who watch the movie. You have to look at it all. Like, yes, domestically this look better, but internationally this is terrible. And yes, they have it open up everywhere because they're doing this whole. Oh, we're gonna open up in a week apart. And again, any movie that you look at that did this in the past, only the international didn't grow that much. But again, here's another thing people forget: they both of them over 2 days apart. I don't know if this is gonna be fully changed anything, but it did have some international release, and it didn't do well international. Could it be? Could it gain? But it could gain. But here's another thing that I did: Lion King 2019. Lion King 2019 box office. Look at this. Again, in the Lion King 2019 box office, it made over 1.6 billion, and look at where most of it came from internationally. Now, let's look at Sonic 1 box office. Gonna do 1 and 2. Two here. And let's look at more evenly split. But here's the thing: when you look at how it was released, when you look at how it was released, it wasn't released in two separate parts. See? Like look at when it all came out. Well, majority. There's some that came out a little later, but again, it was released within 1 or 2 days of each other in most places. Some places it came out a week later, but the release of it was fairly solid. Oh, some of them came out 2 weeks later. Wow. Whoa! Some of them came out months later. But look, fairly within a week or two of each other. Now, Sonic 2, same thing. Let's look at the 40. It's roughly the same split. Let's look at it again. Oh, some places released domestically, but it wasn't. Wow, it is all over the place. No wonder. Well, like a lot of places were released around the same time. Also, it's a lot less, like a lot less places. But again, Opening weekend. Look how well it did. Let's look at the opening weekend then. Domestically, domestically, this one. Where's the opening? Domestic opening weekend. Look how look how it did in its open weekend. It did fairly the same in its opening week. Well, I have to say opening week because the way this came out, it wasn't a. It didn't come out on a Friday. It came out on Tuesday, I think. But opening the for the first opening week, look how well it did. Open domestic opening. Where is does it have just domestic here? No. But again, even domestic, it double international. I mean, international doubled the domestic. Like it wasn't even close. I'm trying to see if there is a. Oh, this is domestic, is it? Or is this just each weekend? Okay, no, it did open Friday. Sometimes some places did it, some places didn't. But again, at the same time, you look at the data and see the last Lion King made far more. Right. Back to the original. The last one made far more. Sonic 1 and 2. First one came out fairly close together and some jumps and stuff. Second one came out, it was again, you it came out sporadically, didn't help it really too much. Now, could Sonic 3 make up the difference? It's possible. Is it? Like, okay, another thing. Let's look at Sonic 1 opening domestic 60. Sonic 2 at 70. Sonic 3 at 60 again. It's going down. So even if you use domestic, it's going down. It's not doing that much better. It had a big jump here, but it hit this. If you look at based on the numbers from the previous movie, this is going to hit roughly 300 million, maybe. It won't. It won't be a uh over 500. If you again, this is look at it based on the numbers that from the previous movie and everything. Could they hit 500 million? It's always a possibility, but you have to put the same thing in perspective with this movie. This movie can also hit over a billion because the last one did the same thing. Like just because you hear people are like, "Oh, the new Lion King is losing based on domestic, based on domestic. If you use a total, it actually winning like 200 million versus 90. It's not close. Like, and people like, well, it's gonna over up internationally. Okay, let's look at well it did internationally. It was a roughly 50-50 split internationally. Roughly 50-50 split on both movies internationally. So you see the problem? If you look at the other Lion King, it's like it was one third domestic, two thirds internationally. Do you see the difference? The Lion King, the Lion King Mufasa movie is following the same trend, right? It's doing the exact same thing as this one. Look, do you see why you don't just take out one set? So this may not be fully released internationally, but it, if you go based on the numbers and everything, internationally it's going to be roughly the same as this. So this might hit $100. Sorry, 100 million, and internationally it's going to be roughly 100. So 200 million internationally for both first week. But if you do the split here, you gotta double this. Well, you can't even double this because it's more than double. Even if you double this, that's going to be far more here in a total. Again, this is why you look at data carefully. You don't just take people's word. You don't just parrot what people say. Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, it wasn't much better. It was nearly a 50-50 split. And the data shows that Lion King 2000, this is to, it doesn't state it here, but this is the 2019 release. Doesn't state it here, but it did do far better. Now, does this mean that numbers are going to hold up today? No. Wow. And it also was, wow. They released it in July, but they didn't drop it back until December. So let's see how long does it. Let's see if I can pull that out here. No, never know how I'm trying to have it same for both of them. Let's see if I can pull up. Okay, here. Yeah, it was. And look how short it was out. Again, it was out far shorter. So they can leave it. They can leave this in a movie there for a lot longer. See if I can do that again here. Let's look how. Oh no, this not right one. I'm on the wrong one. They left this in the movie there for. Is it 6 total months or just almost 6 total months? Because they could do that. Like, look how little we're making down here, but they still just left it in the theaters. It was in the theater for six, almost 6 total months. Let's see how long is the first movie. Yeah, it was in the theater. It was in the theater for 2 months. Let's see if I can do it with the second movie. And I did domestic. April, May, June, July. So 3 to 4 total months, like yeah, like three, roughly 3 full months. So if let's see, roughly 2 to 3, if they do 4 months, and the new Lion King do 6 months, it still won't be close because again, this move was in the theater for far longer, and it's while it was slowly like going down, it was still making money. And if they do the same thing here, Sonic is not going to win. But you have this is something that's going to be a 6 month out. You have to wait 6 months to see the full picture because they might pull Sonic 3 after another 2 months, 2 to 3 months. So having a whole 3 months ahead, showing that it was like, yeah, it's gonna make money. We just gonna leave it out there, and it did. Like it did well. And again, if you're just using a domestic, you're not using a total because domestic is not the full. Not gonna be full. It's what Sonic movie have more of a 50-50 split, while the Lion King movies have a more of a 30-70 split, or 30 was it 33-66, 33-67 split, and that's what's showing for both of the movies. For Sonic is closer to 50-50, and it's not looking good for Sonic. And this is why I tell people don't just bury what people say. Look up the data for yourself, and I did. Here's the data. Here, this is literally about you. Literally see me look up the different data for myself here. I'm not hiding how I do. Unlike them, they was like they was just go and parry whatever people say. But when you look up the data for yourself, you're like, oh yeah, Sonic 3 is not beating Mufasa. Even though you probably like, oh well, this is the opening. Yeah, okay, this one open on a Tuesday. This one open on a Thursday. So you're using the opening domestic versus using the first week of this or the first. If you use the weekend of one and not the full week or the weekend of the other, like you're missing out. You miss out. Cause look, you see what happened? This is what it meant on Friday. Was this released? Which one was released? Were they released at the same time? Because earlier this said on one of these says the. Let me look up something. When it I seen it, one of these came out on. It says came out on 18. So I guess they changed it. I guess it was like a. So okay, okay. Since they want to do that, it changes nothing. Okay, now that both. Okay, so you're saying both of them came out on the 20th, right? And the Mufasa movie made more than twice as much on in the same amount of time. This is why you just don't use it one set of numbers or the other. That's why you look at a total. Look, they both came out on the same day. This is what Simon made worldwide. This is what Mufasa made worldwide. It doubled. Like seriously, it more than double. This, this made double. This made more than double that movie. One movie, it's like, hey, when I looked earlier, it was closer. But again, it more than double, it making double. And you can't say, well, it's not fully released internationally. Okay, the fact that they're doing this big split, it didn't help last time. And when they did a big split, you seen how it was closer to 50-50. And for it was closer to 50-50 for both of them moves. But it didn't matter. So if this hit 100,000, I mean this is gonna be closer to 100,000 as well. So 100 million, it's gonna be close to 100. Well, I don't know why I keep saying thousand. And if this hit 100 million, it's gonna be like 200 million. Do you see the difference? Anyway, that's just going based on the data and not what people say. This is why you got to be careful. Anyway,